Sarah Salzberg, a co-owner and broker with Bohemia Realty Group, says that this broker fee cost will still be passed along to renters, but in the form of a higher monthly rent.
So, New York City Council has recently just passed the FARE Act, and that is the Fairness in Apartment Rentals Act. So we're going to take a moment to discuss the whole FARE Act and what's done in other states, and is this going to impact the New York City rental market?
And the City Council is signing off on new legislation that will eliminate hefty upfront broker fees for most New York renters.
Fox 5's Morgan Mackay outside City Hall with what it means for renters and landlords.
Hey, hey, ho, ho, these broker fees have got to go.
New York City renters will no longer be forced to pay a broker fee in most cases. The Fairness in Apartment Rental Expenses Bill, otherwise known as a FARE Act, passed with a veto-proof majority. Bill sponsor and City Councilman Chi Ossie celebrating in the council chambers. Under this bill, landlords will now be required to pay those broker fees unless a renter hires a broker to find an apartment for them.
The average cost to move into a new apartment in New York City, the amount of money you pay is over $10,000.
New York City was one of the last cities in the country to require that renters pay the broker fee instead of landlords. The broker fee typically equals about 10 to 15% of the yearly rent total and has to be paid up front. Ossie said that a bill like this is exactly what voters are looking for from Democrats.
Requiring that whoever hires the broker pays the fee will again put money back into the pockets of New Yorkers and showing that Democrats do deliver.
However, Sarah Salzberg, a co-owner and broker with Bohemia Realty Group, says that this broker fee cost will still be passed along to renters, but in the form of a higher monthly rent.
There is always a broker fee. It's just baked into your rent. So you can pay it up front or you can pay it over time. And if you pay it over time, you're paying it over and over.
Opponents of the bill say this will have a significant impact as well on housing supply.
This will fundamentally break the rental market. At what point is everyone here going to realize that we're only going to make things worse?
Mayor Eric Adams expressed his skepticism of the bill Tuesday, saying that he was also concerned this could lead to higher rent and affect smaller landlords, giving no indication whether he will sign or veto this bill. Council Speaker Adrienne Adams says she was surprised by his comments.
I can't interpret what the mayor is saying, but the administration was a part of the negotiations on this bill.
Now, I asked Mayor Adams again as he was leaving City Hall if he's going to veto this bill, and he said he's going to let the process play out. Reporting from City Hall, I'm Morgan Mackay, Fox 5 News.
So, I mean, this is a huge change. I don't know if it's for the better or for the worse. I don't know if I'd rather pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 up front. I think it depends on how long you're living in the apartment, too. Sure. If I think I'm going to be there, if I'm moving there and I'm going to be there for years and years and years, it might make more sense than paying $200 extra a month.
So you got two different positions here. Tenants say it's going to get cheaper. Landlords or real estate agents say it's going to get more expensive. It's really all about the market. If a landlord has a building and they can put it online and tenants find that building without needing a broker, then there's going to be no fee for either party. I think that it's going to make apartments harder to find. And then the people that have the ability to pay a broker fee are going to go to brokers, and they're going to let those brokers do the work for them. It could actually hurt those people because those brokers won't take them to buildings where the landlord's not going to pay the fee.
That's true.
It's actually going to make it a lot more difficult in some respects. I think the people that can't afford the fees now, there are apartments out there that don't have fees. You just have to go direct. So I don't like when government gets involved and they make all these changes. Let the brokers do what they want. Let the landlords do what they want. There's stuff out there for everybody. There's no requirement that says a landlord has to use a broker to rent an apartment.
Correct.
And there's no requirement that says a tenant has to use a broker to find an apartment. So I think this is just a bunch of muddling. They should have just left it the way it is.
I don't know. So how do they do it here in Jersey?
So in Jersey, people do whatever they want. Traditionally, though, in Jersey, the tenants would pay the broker fee. But as the markets get more competitive, and if you're in an area where there's 10,000 apartments, the landlords will contribute. They'll pay half, or they'll put someone on staff, and there'll be no broker fee. So it just works itself out based on the market. I don't see what the whole hey ho ho was about. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I understand that it's very hard when you are trying to move into an apartment and you have to come up with up to $10,000 in just your broker fee. I mean, you may not have that. You may have your first month's rent. You might have your security. You might have that portion. But then you tack on this broker fee that comes it feels like it comes out of nowhere. So you feel as though you can't move into that apartment. You can't afford it.
A broker's doing a job. They're driving you around, or they're meeting you at places. They're doing research. They're helping you get an apartment. They're helping you fill out the applications. They're helping you do the work to get it. And they deserve their fee.
True. If you've been looking for I haven't been looking for an apartment in New York for decades. But when I did look for apartments in New York, I never used a broker. I just went with family friends.
There's always a way to find an apartment.
Yeah.
And the more apartments out there, the less the need for the broker. The less apartments out there, the more the need for the broker. It just depends on the scenario. Everything is different. If you have a budget, you can stick with it and you go find the situation that works for you. There are programs out there that landlords are using to lower security deposits. There's an insurance company called Rhino where you can pay a monthly fee and that acts as your security. It's an insurance policy that goes to the landlord if you destroy the place. And that lowers your upfront cost of getting into an apartment.
Okay.
There's also scenarios where if there's an abundance of apartments, landlords will check your credit score and they're going to say, oh, you have an 850. We're going to lower your security. Instead of a month and a half or whatever it is, we're going to just take $1,000 security fee. There's so many different scenarios out there that I just think it's whatever the market will bear.
So do you agree with this guy that it's going to make things more expensive for New Yorkers?
I think that it's going to make it more complicated. I think it'll be more expensive for some. And, the ones that don't want to use the broker fee, they may have trouble finding certain apartments, or they're going to have to work harder because a broker, you could be rendering a broker ineffective. But again, you could still choose to pay the broker.
The landlord.
No, the tenant.
Well, no, they're saying that you can't transfer
it's
that
going to
fee
keep you from going to a broker and saying, hi, I'm going to pay you $5,000 to find me an apartment. Is there a law that says I can't do that?
Yeah, the FARE Act.
I don't know. It doesn't sound fair to me.
But do you think that that landlords will just stop using brokers?
Absolutely.
Would you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm like, this is going to come out the wrong way, but if I'm like an 80-year-old man that doesn't know how to use a computer, I may be stuck using a broker. But if I own 40 apartments, I'm just going to put them all on Zillow or online, and I'm going to come up with my own website and figure out a way to avoid broker fees.
Yeah, so would I. Yeah. I wouldn't do that.
But I would do that. I would have done that already because I want my apartments to move as quickly as possible and keep them rented. So the lower entry fee into an apartment, the quicker it's going to rent.
Meaning the easier it is for someone to actually come in. Got it.
So, and this may only affect certain levels. And the people that are complaining about the broker fees, I don't think any of this affects them. I think this is for the bigger, higher level apartment buildings.
But what about the convenience of having a broker, or what are the advantages of having a broker for the owners?
Well, I think that the brokers are vetting the tenants.
Right.
Okay.
And that's huge.
Yeah. They're also from a non-owner perspective, if you're coming from another state into, let's say, New York City, you have no idea where you want to be, or you don't know the areas, it's for lazy people.
I wouldn't call it lazy because
lazy/busy people.
Right.
But, if you have the money to do it, then you hire the broker and it works. But I definitely think it's going to make things more difficult.
Because again, when I was younger, I know I had friends who were coming into New York and they used brokers, and they were paying, their rents were absorbent or just huge, and they were paying the broker's fee. Again, I lived in New York. You ask around, your moms ask around, everyone asks around,
and everything's online
you
today.
It.
You can, there's apartments all over the internet.
You can find it. Craigslist. Yeah.
So I just think that it's something that the government is getting involved where they don't need to. It was working before. People were still finding that apartment. You know, if somebody didn't want to pay a $6,000 broker fee, then go get a different apartment.
Yeah.
They're out there. So as far as a landlord's perspective, in addition to what we talked about, you know, having a broker is awesome because it does that due diligence for you. It helps you with your credit checks. It helps you pick tenants that in theory are going to pay and stay with you. So, you know, a landlord maybe could negotiate the broker fee. If they aren't used to taking on the whole broker fee and maybe it was 15%, maybe they could say to the agent, look, I'm only going to, I want to work with you, but I can only give you 7%. So there's all kinds of options. I think brokers are very important in the marketplace. It just depends on what level of a landlord you're at and if they can afford to use it or not.
What happens when you get a tenant that's horrible? I mean, is it worth the money to just have a good tenant? It's because I think
everybody's watched those movies with like the crazy roommates and the crazy tenants that don't leave and the squatters and and all that stuff. So
we did an excellent episode on the squatters.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So absolutely having a good tenant is crucial. I'd rather have a less dollar amount, you know, save. I'd rather rent it for 5% less and get a killer tenant than get that extra 5% with a nightmare. So, you know, brokers are going to help you do that. But again, it depends. Are you a professional landlord? Do you have one apartment? It all depends on what your experience is.
Yeah. So this wasn't necessary.
I don't think it was necessary at all.
All right.
Yeah. But good luck to everybody.
Thanks for watching this episode. Now don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And we'll see you next time.